So Taiwan recently had the situation where a bunch of Chinese influencers living in Taiwan with resident visas, so legally in Taiwan, they were going on Douyin, maybe a few of them were on other platforms as well, but basically advocating for a Chinese takeover of Taiwan. And this is very interesting because one of these people was like a mother of three who had married a Taiwanese citizen and had lived in Taiwan for 10 years. And all of them got kicked out of Taiwan.
So what happened? Have they left?
I believe, yes, they have now left. And, this is a case of, President Lai of Taiwan basically said this, and this is something we've talked about, the Chinese Communist Party propaganda tactic of strangling a country with its own systems, taking advantage of the freedom that you have in a country like Taiwan and basically advocating for its demise.
Right. I mean, some of her videos where she was like, "Oh yeah, the China will level this place in a day if it invade." It was pretty. It was not just like, "Oh, I'm here like in Taiwan, and this is why I think it would be better if it would be ruled by the CCP." Even it was like they're gonna come and decimate this place. It was
another one was like, "Oh, the Chinese military is doing live fire drills around Taiwan. I hope if I go to sleep, maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and China will be in charge, and I'd be so happy."
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of this is like what she actually believes and how much is like cynical because she's obviously playing to an audience. She's on Douyin, which is used in China.
The Chinese version of TikTok.
Yeah, so it is essentially like she's playing to like a mainland Chinese audience about, someday we will retake Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
But now she's learned that the actions have consequences.
Yeah, and when this was happening, she was like, "Oh, what about my free speech?" And which is an interesting tactic that always happens in these situations where, they're like, "I thought, this country was supposed to have, all these liberties," but they're also advocating for like the end of those liberties and submission to China, where you don't have those liberties. And so but this is a very interesting thing, like, because there was this argument made that, they should not be deported because they are just exercising their freedom of speech. And the Taiwan government mainly was like, well, no, they're advocating for the destruction of Taiwan. So we're not going to tolerate this. Resident visas revoked, deported.
Yeah. Well, it's the same argument used by TikTok when they were trying to stop the congressional ban on TikTok. Or like, well, what about free speech?
I mean, they built their entire argument around that. It wasn't just what about free speech. It's TikTok is standing up for freedom of speech.
TikTok, in fact, TikTok is the only platform where there is free speech.
It's an insane argument because in no way does banning TikTok curtail free speech. You're literally removing a platform that is censoring speech by banning TikTok.
Because they do censor.
Because they censor so much speech in favor of Chinese propaganda. So, like, literally, it's like the opposite of what they're doing. Like, they're literally a platform that is censoring content selectively to bias in favor of the Chinese Communist Party, a foreign adversary. Like, it's an insane argument, but yet people eat it up because they're on TikTok.
But yeah, this is an issue in battling communist infiltration. Like, we have liberties that we hold very sacred. How do we defend against Chinese Communist Party incursion? Like, you don't want to become a dictatorship in trying to prevent a dictatorship from taking over.
Right.
Well,
but
I mean, this is where the U.S. has to get a lot better at political warfare.
Right.
Like, it's kind of like they're coming here and using our system against us, and we're just kind of lying back and taking it, like, instead of fighting back with our system,
It's hard because, those of our viewers who are older may remember McCarthyism and the way that they went after communism. And there was a lot of reason to go after communism, but also a lot of people felt at the time that it had gone too far and had gone after people who weren't really communist. And, you can argue about whether it did go too far, what that really means. But like what I'm talking about is that there is a public reaction to the U.S. fighting back against Soviet infiltration, and the blowback of the U.S. fighting back was also significant, right? So it was like my point is only that it's very tricky to do.
No, I mean, I can understand that, but I'm not even talking about we need to fight back like we need to deport the people, which actually I think the Trump administration is starting to do now with some of the people who are like doing some of those pro-Hamas college campus protests.
That's where I was reflecting what's happening in China, Asia to the U.S.
Yes. So your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's a tricky question. Like, it's like the argument is like, but would they have free speech here? And it's like, but the counter argument is, no, they're here as guests and they're advocating for the destruction of America. You do not get to stay here.
You can't get it. You're not supposed to get a visa to the U.S. if you are a communist or a terrorist. You know, like there are certain things that you're supposed to like. When you apply for the visa, you literally have to avow that you are not a member of a communist party, among other things. And I'm sure a lot of Chinese people have lied about that on their visa applications. And you know, if America as a country and as a government doesn't think that the CCP is a threat, then they're not going to do anything about it. But an America that thinks that the CCP is a threat, they could start investigating people for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but this then ties into what I was mentioning earlier about the problem with the media, where it's like everything Trump does is the worst possible thing. So if the U.S. government under Trump does start doing this, then you're going to have our own media talking about how this is a violation of due process, free speech, the rights of, what
humanity, like, just general, like the U.S. should be better than this, you know? And I do think there's some kind of idea in here too that like we owe it to people around the world to, kind of take it because we are the superpower.
Right. So this is where I'm calling on some Democrats like Nancy Pelosi and Raja Krishnamurthy to, stand up for protecting America as Democrats and look into this issue. Because if it's only people on the right doing it, it's going to have a huge blowback. But if you can get some bipartisanship, it's going to be tremendously more successful. So I'm sure that, Congresswoman Pelosi is watching our podcast. Thank you for subscribing, by the way.
I will use the funds to buy ice cream. You can appreciate that. I know she's an ice cream.
What's the ice cream that she likes?
I think it was Jenny's ice cream that was like in her fridge.
In her freezer, yeah.
I still can't afford that.
It's a very expensive ice cream. It's like $10 for a pint or something.
God, I would, even if I had the money, as a moral principle, I would.
It's very good ice cream though.
How good can it possibly be?
I mean, their almond brittle ice cream is...
Almond brittle. I like chocolate ice cream.
Wow.
I'm an American. Simple tastes.
All right.
Yeah, well, I like bubblegum ice cream.
Ugh.
Does Jenny's make bubblegum?
I like those popsicles I could buy at a park from an ice cream truck that were like each little layers was like a different artificially colored dye.
Uh-huh.
Though
Like,
that's America.
It's supposed to be SpongeBob, but like it comes out looking completely
or one
deformed.
of those. Those are probably made in
It just looks like a sponge.
It's an actual
melted.
sponge.
Yeah. Well, no, I was going to say, I think America needs to get better at fighting political warfare, but not necessarily just like it's not that you necessarily have to go around and just like go around deporting people. That's not your only weapon, right? Like, what do you have to do? You have to get better at the narrative warfare than the CCP. You have to do what whoever put together that video of American manufacturing does, right? It's like now you are kind of counter messaging and showing like the reality of the situation.
Yeah,
Right?
because I saw a couple of people were making this point on X, and I think it's probably a bit too cynical, and I doubt it will actually happen. But they were like, we're a week away from, the liberals putting the Chinese flag in their profile. Thank you for watching this clip. I know you want to see more of me, Shelley, and Matt's mustache, so now it's time to watch our full hour-long podcast. It's available only for subscribers on our website, ChinaUncensored.tv. So check it out, join the fun, and support what we do at the same time. The link is below.